Hello, we will now try to see how to find equation of axis of symmetry for a parabola. Axis of symmetry in a parabola is very important because the vertex is on this axis, right? So once you know equation of axis of symmetry, you can find the vertex, and from the vertex, depending on whether the graph opens upwards or downwards, we can find whether we have a minimum or maximum. So axis of symmetry holds the key to our vertex and thereby to our maximum or minimum point. So let's have a look. We'll just draw a rough sketch here. The idea is to understand the concept, and let me draw just a parabola like this somewhere, okay? Let's say this is a parabola and these are our x-intercepts. Let's say for the time being the x-intercepts are at -2 and 4. I'm taking values which are easy for calculation purpose, right? Because we need to understand the concept. Now, if these are my two x-intercepts, then where should be the axis of symmetry? It is always right in the center, because axis of symmetry is a line about which the whole parabola is symmetric, right? That's why the name, axis of symmetry. So it has to be right in the center. So how do we calculate the center? Center will be add these two, divide by 2. So that's how you find axis of symmetry for any given parabola. Now here we had a graph, and from there we are trying to find the equation of axis of symmetry. So simple. Do you see that? Now, so axis of symmetry, we say x is equal to -2 plus 4 divided by 2, which gives us 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So the equation of this line, which is axis of symmetry, is equals to x equals to 1. Do you get it? Now, important thing is that the vertex, you see, lies on this line. Therefore, if we know the equation of the line, we can find the value of the vertex. So that is what is very important about this. Do you understand why we are so much after the axis of symmetry, correct? Now let's do a problem. Now you've understood the concept, right? Let's say we have a problem saying that fx is equal to 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 4. Let's say we have this kind of a problem, right? Now here, what are the x-intercepts? The x-intercepts are -2 and -4. So we know x-intercepts, okay? So where is the axis of symmetry? We found that axis of symmetry is average mean distance between the two x-intercepts, and we just found it out as -2 plus 4 divided by 2, which gives us 1. Okay. Now, so what is the value of this vertex for this given equation? So we'll just plug in this value of x as 1 and say f of 1 is equals to 2 times. So we'll replace all x with 1. Get 1 plus 2 times 1 minus 4. And we can calculate this as 2 times 1 plus 2 is 3, and that is -3. And this is equal to 6 times 3, 18, minus 18. So our vertex is at a point x value is 1 and y value is -18. Since the graph opens upwards, right? So we have minimum, right, at x equals to 1, right? And what is the value of minimum? Value is equals to -18, right? Now this vertex also helps us to give the range of our polynomial function, in this case parabola, correct? Now, domain, we know what is the domain. So domain is equal to x belongs to real number, and that's for all the parabolas, correct? Range is kind of critical. How to determine range of the function? We say range is y belongs to real numbers, so that y is greater than equal to -18, right? So we just saw how from a factored form of an equation we can find axis of symmetry. Well, if I give you an equation in vertex form, it is very simple. For example, we have a function gx is equal to minus 5 x minus 1 whole square plus 2, let's say, right? So in this case, minus 5 means graph opens downwards, right? So we are expecting a graph kind of like this, right? And we want to find this point. This is the vertex form, and it directly gives you the axis of symmetry and the vertex, correct? So this line is your axis of symmetry. Equation of this line is x equals to 1, okay? So this is your line, the thing which makes this part 0. X equals to 1 is our axis of symmetry, and this point is the maximum point, and in this case it is 2. Do you understand? So the vertex is 1 comma 2, right? Here, because the equation is in vertex form, we don't really have to do any calculations, right? So vertex is 1 comma 2. That's how we get it. But it is very difficult to do axis of symmetry if I give you equation in standard form. Let us say we have equation hx equals to 3x squared minus, let me write some value here, 12x plus 7. Now, this equation is given in standard form. So let me write here standard form, right? How to find axis of symmetry when the equation is given in standard form? Well, remember this. This method is not dealt in many books. So we will use this method. It's called partial factoring. So what we are doing effectively is that we are just factoring partially. That means we are not factoring the trinomial as such. We are trying to factor just the 2x parts. We'll do partial factoring, and we'll just consider first two terms in this trinomial, right? Here, what can you factor out? You can factor 3x. So we get 3x, and then you're left with x here, minus 12 divided by 3 is 4, right? X and x cancel out, and you get 7. Correct? This is what you get. Now, the first term is the term with the x, and the last term is a constant 7. So can you tell me what will be the value if I make this 0? If I make x 0, then the whole value will be just 7. And if I make this factor 0, then also the value will be 7. So there are two different x values for which we have the same y value or the value of the function. Do you see? So at this factor can be 0 at x equals to 0. Is that okay? And how about this? If I write x equals to 4, then also this is 0. What I'm trying to say is that h of 0 is equal to, we'll say 3 times 0 times 0 minus 4 plus 7, which is 7, right? And how about h of 4? If I write h of 4, then it's 3 times 4 times 4 minus 4 plus 7. Now 4 minus 4 is 0, and 0 times anything will be 0. Like previously, 0 times 3 is 0, or this, both are 0. You are left with 7. So what has happened here is that we have a parabola here, right? And this is my line. Let's say this is my line, which is y equals to 7. Okay? So we say this is my x-axis, correct? So what we are trying to say here is that at x value of 0, we have this value as 7, correct? And here on the x-axis, the value is again, this point is 4 on the x-axis. So we have 2 points which have same y value. So if I want to find just the center value of this, what should I do? I can take average of 0 and 4. Let me do that. So we say 0 plus 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? Which gives us this point. And that is our axis of symmetry. Do you see that? So this is x equals to 2. So we say axis of symmetry equals to x equals to is actually x equals to 2. So that is how you can find axis of symmetry using partial factoring. And how will you find the vertex? Vertex is a point which is on axis of symmetry. Therefore, we'll plug in this value of 2 in our function. So if I find h of 2, what will I get? I can put 2 here, so 3 times 2, 2 minus 4 plus 7, which gives us 6 times 2 minus 4 is minus 2 plus 7, which is minus 12 plus 7, which is minus 5. So this point is 5. So really the axis, x-axis is this one, right? So this is our x-axis. And this point is minus 5. Minus 5. Do you get it now? So finally we have drawn our graph. That was a rough sketch. And the idea here is that if you are given an equation in standard form, we can do partial factoring. And once you do partial factoring, we find on a curve 2 points which have the same y value. Now, midway between them will be a point through which axis of symmetry will pass. Do you see that? So once we get axis of symmetry, we can plug in the value of that x and find the vertex value from our given equation. And you know the alternate way of doing it? If we do not follow partial factoring, then what should we do? We do completing the squares. Do you see that? Completing squares. And completing squares is more elaborate and takes more time. This method is very short and precise. Completing the squares, I'm not covering this video. You can look into the next video, which is on completing the square. Basically, what we do there is, I can just explain you here, 3x squared minus 12x plus 7. So what we do, we factor out 3 first. If I factor out 3, I will be left with x squared minus 4x plus 7. Then we do half of this term, and half of this term is 2. So we add and subtract 2 to it, right? So when you do that, we get 3x squared minus 4x plus 2 squared minus 2 squared, right? Plus 7. So let me go here and complete it, okay? Let me go here and complete it. So we get here 3 times. Now these 3 terms are perfect square. X squared minus 2 times 2x plus 2 square, right? So we will make it a perfect square, which is x minus 2 whole square minus 4 plus 7, correct? And now we will open the bracket. It becomes 3 times x minus 2 whole square, and 3 times minus 4 is minus 12 plus 7. And we can add this up and we get x equals to x minus 2 whole square minus 5. We get the same equation. Do you see that? But for completing the squares, I will still recommend you to go and check my file on completing the squares. Okay? I hope you understand. Thank you.